Color is a very challenging subject. When we say the sky is blue or this wall is purple, we don't really care whether this purple is sitting in a shade or in light and what exactly this mixture of purple is. What we care about is that we understand each other, and when we say that this wall is purple, it is purple. But when we paint, it's completely different. We need to understand how to mix exactly this type of purple that sits in the shade or that blue that sits in light. It's different colors. And today we're going to talk about the Munsell Color System with the hope that it will help us understand a little bit better how to mix colors to achieve and recreate the color that we want. Albert Henry Munsell was a painter and an artist that lived from the middle of the 19th century to the beginning of the 20th century. He wanted to create a color notation that will help us understand mixing of color in a better way. His system is defined by three different parameters: hue, which is the color that we know, red, blue, green, etc. Value, which is how light or dark something is. And chroma, which he defined as the difference between a pure hue and a pure gray. In order to do that, he defined a color wheel that was built out of 5 different principal colors, which are red, yellow, blue, green, and purple. He assigned a value of 5 to each one of them and defined them as the principal colors. He decided to describe his system like that. In the middle, there's this cylinder that goes from 0 to 10 and describes the values. So it goes from white to black, and in between 10 different levels of gray. The hues are built around it, and they are using the same color notation that we discussed earlier, 5Y, 5R, 5B, etc. And they represent the pure hues and the combination that comes in between them. And the last part is the chroma. The chroma is placed from the cylinder outside. So now it's easier for us to understand and describe color. For example, we can take 5Y, which is yellow, mix it up with a value of 3 and a chroma of 5. And when we want to describe it to somebody, we can say this is yellow, that is 5Y, value of 3, chroma of 5. And then we achieve the same color every time. So let's take this into practice and see how it works. So on the palette we have titanium white, burnt ember, ivory black, cadmium red, cadmium blue, and cadmium yellow. What we want to do is create the scale that goes from 0 to 10 that will represent the values for us like we saw before in the Munsell Color System demonstration. But before we do that, ivory black has a lot of blue in it. So what I like to do is to neutralize it with burnt ember. So when we combine the two, we get a more neutral black. So we can start and work with it. Now the idea is to create from one side white, which represent number 10. And from the other side, the black that will represent for us value number 0. What we want to do then is take the same amount of white and the same amount of black, mix them together, and this will give us neutral gray. This will give us the number 5, the middle in the scale. So we take some titanium white, some of our neutral black, try to go with the same amount and mix them together. So continuing with building the value scale, now what we want to do is to take the number 5 that we just created, mix it up with the number 10 that we have, and create the middle value between 5 and 10. So what we do is we take a little bit from the number 5, same amount from number 10, which is white, So we can take from the other pack. Make sure it's the same amount, and then we mix it up together. And that will give us value number 8. The idea is to continue the same process while we take from neighboring values the same amount, mix them together, and place them in between. And all we need is 10 values, because the scale goes from 0 to 10, from black to white. So the process is the same, and we will just continue to do that. We will take from neighboring values, mix them together, and create the next one. So we have all the values from 0 to 10. Of course, you don't have to do that every time you paint, but this will give you the process and the concept of what the Munsell color system is intended to. Once you have all the different colors, the different values, then we can take colors, we can take hue, and lower them into the same value that we want. So for example, we can take this red and take the same amount. For example, if we want to lower it to value 0, we take the same amount from value 0, mix it up together, and this will give us red, which is R5, with value 0. So if you squint your eyes now, you will see it's the same value. I try to demonstrate it on the video like that. Just lowered the saturation to 0, and you can see that it's the same exact value. What we can also do is, of course, take the same red and create the same red with value 5. So we take the same amount, we mix it up together. And now, as you can see, we have red that is value 5, which is lighter than the red that we created before, which is value 0. The concept continues like that, and you can take any color and build any value from the value scale that you want. So for example, we can take the value that we just created and increase its chroma. So in order to increase the chroma, we add a little bit more of the red. Because remember, the chroma is the difference between a pure hue and a pure gray. So if we add more hue, we are effectively increasing the chroma. So now you can see the red in value 5 has the same value. The value did not change, as you can see, but the chroma got intensified. So the intensity of the color increased, but we maintained the value. We can, of course, continue to do that and, for example, increase the chroma a little bit more like I'm doing right now. But this will maintain the same value. So again, if you squint, you will see this is the same value. It's no different. Just the chroma, it's much more chromatic than the color before. We can do that, of course, on another value like we did in value 0, and now increasing the chroma on that value. And this way we can build all the colors that we want with all the values that we want, with all the chroma that we want. So in this case, this is red, but we can do the same thing with other colors. Like, for example, I'm mixing yellow and blue to get green. And I'm taking this green and building values number 2 in that case. So if you squint, you will see this is the same value. It's green with the same value, value 2. And this is value 8. So you can see that it's lighter than what the green that we created before. And they are different because they are different values. So I hope this helped you understand the Munsell color system a little bit better. If you have any question, please place them in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that. And if you like the video, please press like. Thank you, and I see you in the next video.